Hello and welcome to weeks 9 and 10 of my journey to a master's in responsible artificial intelligence. I am Rem and I am a student of Open Institute of Technology. So, week 9 and 10, time flies so fast because there's only 3 more weeks remaining until the term ends. And the experience has been really great. I've been enjoying this. Past couple of weeks, there's a lot that has happened. Starting with a very good discussion about trust and mental models, which I think explains why there's a huge disconnect between the expectations of most people about AI and in how a lot of people think that AI will replace all jobs. I mean, it's been marketed that way, you know? You've seen a lot of posts, news articles, really glorifying how AI will replace humans. And in our human-centered AI class, we discussed about making sure that whatever product you put out or whatever product you develop, you should be mindful of the level of trust that your user has on your product. Let's take Tesla, for example. So, in the beginning, they marketed their vehicles to be fully autonomous. But in fact, it's not entirely true. Yeah, maybe it can drive itself, and has increased its level of safety. But there will be times that a user needs to be attentive enough to make certain corrections in certain situations. That should have been clear in the way the vehicle has been advertised. But instead, people who buy Tesla expect it to work without human intervention. And we see this with a lot of people I know and my friends know, even my friends who have businesses that use AI and fully trust AI because it's quote unquote autonomous and automatic and it could do everything that you want it to do. And people don't double check anymore whatever content AI generates for them. And we've seen a lot of articles recently of even huge corporations paying penalties because the reports that they give to their clients were AI generated. And the data it generates is not actually factual or incorrect. So there's a sense of having the trust of users not being calibrated correctly towards AI products. And I think it's still going to continue unless regulations force AI developers to be transparent about the capabilities of their products, even for ChatGPT. Because if you don't know, it's still probabilistic. So it actually presents itself internally. It doesn't show you, but internally in the algorithms, it actually picks a few options for words that it would append to that to its answer. So maybe let's say it chooses 10 words to append to its sentence. Each word has its own confidence level or the probability of it being correct. So the way it was designed, often it would take the word that has the highest probability to be correct in that particular context. So even though maybe in that 10 words, the highest probable word only has maybe 35% probability of being correct, but it's the highest, it will still take it and append it into the corpus of its answer, which is You know, even though the model isn't confident, it will just spit out that answer. But maybe if regulation can come in, governments can force these companies to actually add that particular number. Like, okay, this is my answer, says ChatGPT, and I'm only 55% confident about my answer. And seeing that, maybe, just maybe, if a user reads that, they could now recalibrate their own trust about the answer of the AI, right? Like, for example, if you ask somebody, a human, you know, how sure are you that this will work? You know, or how sure are you that your answer is correct? And sometimes humans would actually say, I'm around 50-50, or maybe 80%, I am 80% sure that this is correct. You yourself, like you would readjust your expectations now, right? So okay, if you're only 50% confident about your answer, then that's not better than a coin toss. So you can now decide on your own whether to take that answer or to discard it, right? The same is true for AI. And that I think governments and regulations should force AI service providers to include that, to be transparent in that confidence level for each answer of these large language models. It just makes sense, right? Another huge thing, personally, that happened during the past couple of weeks was that my AI and ethics professor actually finally reached out to me and sent me files of the tasks that I would perform for the red teaming project that he was referring, which I applied as a volunteer. So I can't really disclose the details. It's kind of sensitive. But when I saw the specifications, I got really excited. I think this is one of the projects that could help me break into AI regulation and AI policy. I'm really excited. It involves, again, exercising red teaming efforts. So I already discussed this a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, I think this is it. It's going to happen. The question now for me is, how can I find the time? Just this past weekend, I've had to work on a couple of graded assessments, and it took, again, the whole weekend to finish the two of them. The first one is to create a user journey map and use that to suggest a solution for a particular problem. So I reached out to a few friends who are actually business owners or a former business owner to see if I could have them all participate in a short group interview, group discussion. And hopefully, a few of them agreed. And yeah. So the topic of my assessment was about trying to find solutions for small and medium enterprise business owners. So yeah, that was a very, very eye-opening discussion, since although I have some ideas about the problems of small businesses, especially here in the Philippines, actually hearing concrete incidents grounded my assumptions. So it helped me to really form my idea for the assessment. And yeah, I'm very thankful to my friends who have participated. I treated them to tickets to the Wicked movie, the part two. So yeah, all in all, it was great. And the second assessment was for our AI and ethics class, which was, again, this was one of the most fun activities that I've had to do here in our first term in OPET was to try to jailbreak large language models, or trick it for it to generate fake news for me. So that was part one of the task. Part two of the task is to actually um, have this generated article and run it through online fake news detectors and see what happens, and do analysis of the whole process from generating that fake news to detecting fake news. I actually tried to do this with Gemini 2.5 right before 3.0 was launched, and I also did it using OpenAI's ChatGPT 5.1, which was just released recently. So that was a very fun experience, since if you tell large language models, especially the newer ones, to create fake news for you, they will then and there deny you and tell you that they can't do that. So you have to be creative with your prompting to actually force them to do that. I won't tell you how I was able to do it, but from my observation and from the experiment, Gemini was actually easier to jailbreak than ChatGPT 5.1. Well, it makes sense because Gemini was actually much older than ChatGPT. But despite that, I was still able to kinda trick ChatGPT 5.1 to generate a rather general fake news article for me. It was hard to force it to insert actual names of real people on the article, but that's easy to replace manually, and anyway. So yeah, but despite those guardrails, I was able to find a way to insert a certain political figure in the United States into the article to lend some credibility, quote unquote, to the fake news. So yeah, that was a great exercise. Then yeah, in the second part of the exercise or the assessment, we had to run these fake articles through the fake news detectors, and I had my assumptions or my hypothesis that the Gemini generated one would actually fool these fake news detectors more than the ChatGPT generated one. I didn't change anything. I just copy pasted everything. Maybe removed some of the remarks of the AI, like this is purely for fictional or whatever. So I removed those remarks and just retained the article itself. So yeah, I was expecting Gemini to do better than ChatGPT in fooling fake news detectors. But when the results came out, I chose, I guess, 3 fake news detectors available online, and tried to extract the confidence level of each fake news detector. Since, like I said in the beginning of the video, that would be, very useful data to analyze how, how the model is performing. So, when the final data came out between the 3 fake news detectors, the article that ChatGPT generated actually performed better, or fooled the detectors more than the Gemini one, which was surprising to me because the fake news article of ChatGPT contained fake people. No, there was one person, like I mentioned earlier, one famous person concluded there, but all the rest, even the places, the organizations that the article mentioned don't exist. So, so that was interesting. And Gemini all had actual people and actual organizations. It mentioned all these real places and even had links to studies that could legitimize the claims of that article. But despite that, ChatGPT's article performed a lot better. Just kind of weird, or not weird, since I also tried to run this using actual real world articles from from CNN, um, BBC, just to validate the performance of these fake news detectors. And they did relatively well. And I also tried searching the internet for actual fake news and run them through these detectors. And again, they performed well, missed a few articles here and there, but quite often they were in consensus. But for the articles that I myself generated using AI, it was a mixed bag. So yeah, pretty interesting. And we also will be having our first group project for our data visualization class. And this one I'm also excited since, I'll be able to collaborate with some of my batchmates. Um, One of which is a Filipina living in the same city here in Pasig. So I immediately reached out to her and told her that finally this could be our chance to actually meet, and work on something, and exchange insights about her career, her company, and of course, share my experiences too and insights. So yeah, that's going to be pretty exciting. But like I said, still there's only 3 weeks left, and from what I'm seeing from our syllabus, the lectures themselves are starting to wind down. But the requirements that you need to work on, like ungraded quizzes, assignments, and the graded assessments, are going to pick up towards the latter part of the term. So yeah, I'm bracing for it. I'm excited and eager to actually finish the term so that I could start preparing for AIGP, which I mentioned in a previous vlog that I will be pursuing. So for the benefit of people who haven't watched that video, AIGP stands for Artificial Intelligence Governance Professional. And it's a certification provided by IAPP, if I remember correctly, that certifies that you are an expert in AI governance, which again is a field that I want to get into. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. And if you have questions about OPIT or AI in general, or getting into tech, since generally that's what my channel is about, just comment down below. And with that, I wish you the best, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!